Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now, Kendall and I bought a table for our house back in February, so it's been a little bit. And we love the table. Use it all the time. Nothing's wrong with it. Every once in a while, well actually, now it's beginning to be every day, when we go over to the table, there's always crumbs left on it. But we can't figure out why. So we cleaned up the table just about every day. I'm thinking Kendall ate something and left the crumbs. She's thinking I ate something and left the crumbs. Until I started noticing that would clean the table and the next morning it looked bad again. So upon closer inspection, I see these little tiny holes all over the table. And something is burrowing a hole, and what that we thought were crumbs are actually pieces of wood coming out of the hole as the bug makes a new hole. At first I thought termites or worms, and I did the Google searches, but I can't figure out anything that it is because every wood-boring creature I see is too big to make such a small hole and fit in it. But apparently when we bought the table, we bought the bugs with it. So right now I am in a cut-in village about 3.5 hours to the west of Old City, Chiang Mai, to visit a friend of mine who lives out here in the cut-in village because he's cut in. Now, when I left, the day looked fantastic. The day looked like this. Okay, I've got my helmet on and I'm ready to go. I've got her loaded down with all the gear. So the CT-125 Honda is ready to go. Now, you do see that the weather's good. This is how my last trip that was a disaster in the mountains started off. And I'm gonna be going deep into it this time. So anyway, hopefully things will go good. Things are starting off weather-wise, not too bad. So I started my journey on the motorcycle and things progressively got worse, of course. You know, it hasn't even been a week since you saw that video to where my mountain trip to Doi Inthanai was rained out. Well, this was no different, except this time I didn't wreck. And driving down the road, country roads, beautiful. Then the rain starts. Then everything gets slippery. But since this time I wasn't following a bunch of people on motorcycles, I could go a lot slower. And I figured out real quick that is the trick, because this time I didn't wreck. I'm gonna wait under this tree because now it's just raining everywhere, even though the sun's still out. So I get through all of these roads where the water's just coming down the street on the side. A lot of motorcycles have already pulled over, but it didn't look like it was getting any better. So I thought I would just go ahead and grin it and bear it and keep going. Eventually, I got to the part where the roads would end and the dirt road began. I gotta say, this little 125cc, which is called the Honda CT-125, I bought it because it's good for use on the road and off the road. And yes, it is good both on the road and off the road. Now, if you're looking for speed, this definitely isn't the motorcycle for you. But if you like going nice and slow and getting to your destination, this could be the one for you. So it handled the dirt roads just fine. There was a little, of course, I slid a little bit because it's wet clay. But it did really well. I give it a A+. And I wasn't as near as intimidated on this motorcycle as I was with my KLX 150 Kawasaki dirt bike. It just felt like you had to keep going too fast. It wasn't built to go slow. This motorcycle was, and it was a lot better of a ride. So I just stopped on this dirt road as I'm going down it. It has been one heck of a trip so far. This stuff is red clay, so not only, I mean, it's raining, but that clay, when it gets wet, it's just slippery. Another thing I wanted to show you was this beautiful scene right here. I'll show you more of this Karen village now that I'm sitting underneath this tree waiting for the rain to stop. You can see the blue sky up there, but it's still raining right now. What I love about being in the Karen villages is that it's very quiet. You don't have any more loud traffic noises. You'll have your occasional motorbike or your car go by, but guaranteed these people are all local that are passing by. Yeah, she's nice and dirty now after this trip. It's the next morning, we gotta go back, and it's been raining today. So more of the same, driving through the mountains in the rain, of course. Hey there, I just had to pull off the side of the road. I'm still in the middle of nowhere. I'm actually heading back to Chiang Mai, and this is the road getting there. So I'm on the dirt road, the good stuff, and we're going straight up the mountain. But I just had to show you, oh, by the way, here's what the motorcycle looks like from going through all this stuff. You can see it got nice and dirty down there, which is great. It's gonna get even worse here in a minute. But I wanted to show you some of the scenes. This is one side of the road. I just couldn't resist because it's just too beautiful. So this is one side of the road here. The rain has let up. It did rain this morning, and I was like, oh no, am I gonna have to ride through this again? But no, it cleared, well, I won't say it cleared off, but let's just say it just stopped raining. Here's the other angle. I mean, this whole thing is just a postcard waiting to happen. There's corn stalks right here in the foreground, and then beautiful mountains in the background. All you can hear up here is the wind. Just a gorgeous place. So while I'm up here, I was gonna let you all know some of the things that Kendall and I are planning on getting a good supply of in the US. We're going to visit there in a couple of weeks, and I think we're gonna be gone about a total of 20 days. So what are the things that we want to bring back from the US? Well, first of all, assortment of candies. Candies you can't find here. And I know I'm gonna hear all the diabetic jokes again, but really, sometimes you just want candy and you can't get what you're looking for here, like Three Musketeers, Sweet Tarts, things like that. So we're gonna bring some of those items. Flip-flops. You know, flip-flops are the shoe of choice here in Thailand because everywhere you go, you have to take your shoes off. Not everywhere, but a lot of places, they want you to take your shoes off, and having flip-flops just is the more convenient way to go. Yes, they do sell flip-flops here, but they don't necessarily have my size, which in the US is 11.5, and in Europe, I think the size is 46. You can find some if you're lucky, but then they don't have arch support. So that's one of the things I want to make sure I bring about 2 pair back. Another thing we always want to make sure we bring are things like Tums. They do have Tums, well, they don't have Tums here. They do have antacid like Kreml, and there's some other brands. They just taste terrible. I've always liked Tums where it actually tasted good. And so anyway, we're gonna bring some of those and some pain reliever. They do have pain reliever here in Thailand, but we like Aleve, and they don't sell Aleve, as far as I know, anywhere we've ever been. So we're gonna stock up on some Aleve and some Benadryl too. They have medicine here that's just like Benadryl, only it's a little bit more expensive because you can buy it in bulk in the US. So we're gonna pick up some of that as well. Some other things we're gonna get are spices and some, in particular, this isn't necessarily a spice, but the ranch dressing packets. There's some foods I make that require one of those packets of ranch dressing, which I cannot find anywhere here. I can find dip, but I can't find the powdered, just regular ranch dressing. So we're gonna get some of that. Cliff bars are another thing that I wanna make sure to get a lot of. If you've never had a Cliff bar, they're the perfect food for when you're in the middle of nowhere and you have no food. They keep well. If they get hot, they're even better depending on which flavor you get. I always like the peanut butter ones, but I can't find them here or anything even close to it. If you know of something, tell me in the comments because I'm all ears. But I'm gonna bring back a lot of the Cliff bars. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys right now. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And if you feel so inclined, buy us a coffee. There's a link in the description. We really appreciate it. And until next time, Kap Kun Kap.